Hi everyone, I'm Airi. Today I would like to introduce to my project, tafoolist, Eat in Japan with Less Stress. So to start with, I'm going to talk about the challenges that I see from my past experiences working at the restaurants in Tokyo and being a local coordinator for foreign visitors. So many of the restaurants in Tokyo, now they do have English menu, but the problem is the waiters do not speak English well. And this could be challenging for some foreigners who have dietary restrictions, such as vegetarian. So for example, this person, she could order tomato sauce pasta, but just because the waiter cannot understand her request to remove the meat from the meatball pasta, the only food she can order is French fries, and which is just an appetizer, and her friend is eating a full meal like steak right next to her. This is pretty unfair, right? And I think this is such a loss for restaurants as well. If she ordered the tomato sauce pasta, the sales for that table could go up by 1,200 yen. And I believe a lot of these kind of challenges at restaurant could be solved with a little twist. So here is my solution. I'm going to provide menu consulting and translation service to restaurants in Minatoku. So what I do is to review existing menu, sort the menu based on dietary restrictions, and create 5 different kinds of menu in English for vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, Muslim, and gluten-free. So now I'm going to show you how exactly I provide this service. This is the actual menu from a restaurant called Rigoretto in Roppongi. And as you can see, the menu is in English, but again, waiters do not speak English well, and there's not so much food information on it. So after I talked to the waiters, manager, and kitchen staff, and interviewed random strangers on the street and my friends with dietary restrictions, I came up with this prototype menu. And this is actually one of other 5 menus that I created. And so here is what I did. So I picked up all the dishes that could be vegetarian options from the original menu. And here's a closer look. The original menu on the right and the prototype menu on the left. So out of 4 dishes, 2 could be vegetarian options. By looking at this menu, customers know to order plancha, they need to ask the waiter to remove the bacon to be a vegetarian option, and that's a possible thing to do. And with this menu, customers are more informed, have more options to order, and it is still less hassle for a restaurant to provide this additional care. Let's see how much opportunities are out there in numbers. So according to JTB Tourism Research, there was 32 million foreign tourists in 2018. And if you estimate 15% of inbound tourists are vegetarian, the market size for this project will be 4.8 million. And this number is growing as the number of foreign visitors are increasing every year. But for menu consulting and translation service are for the short-term business plan because it's only a one-time transaction. But at least I can build up my database and I can build relationship with those restaurants. And building a relationship with restaurants are pretty important for Japanese culture to do business. But for longer term, I want to create an app like Gurunabi, but for people with dietary restrictions. And I charge a monthly fee for those restaurants who wants to be listed on the app. And eventually, I want to expand the market to konbini and department stores. And this is another possibility, but I can team up with Google. So if customers search by vegan options, those restaurants can pop up on the Google map. And I can charge advertising fee, for example. So as you can see, a lot of business could be created out of this business idea. Thank you for listening to my presentation. If you are interested in this project, here is my contact information. And if you want to connect with me with LinkedIn, here is the QR code to my page. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I think it's great. You've made a lot of progress with your idea and everything. I wanted to ask what your exact business model is and who your core customer is.
For initial business plan, I was focusing towards around the restaurants in Minatoku because there are lots of foreign tourists are there and a lot of foreign expats there, those people who are not necessarily coming here to learn language or anything, they kind of have to be here because the company sent to. So the core customers are restaurants in Minato to begin with.
And what's the business model? Is it just basically a consulting service that you make a menu for them and you just are paid for that service?
Yeah, so the first one is just consulting. So again, it's like a one-time thing. So maybe I will charge like, I don't know, like 5,000 yen, but that way I can have the connection and I can get the data. So once I create an app, I can go back to them saying like, because I think Gurunabi is charging like 15,000 per month for restaurants to be listed or like advertising or providing like what kind of customers are looking for in the market. So those kind of models, like more like subscription basis eventually.
Cool, thank you.
Hi, I really liked your idea since the midpoint. I've listened to your idea, and it was really interesting to hear. And I have one question, and I wanted to know: have you actually started to tap into some of the restaurants to start your business? And if you have, I want to understand how did that work? Like, were there any difficulties? And
so I used to work at the Rigoletto that I showed you before, and I already talked to the manager, and I already brought the prototype menu to them. And then the reaction seems positive, and my ex-manager that I used to work with, he's now a board member, and then the current managers are telling me, saying like, oh, I will bring this one up to the boss. But so I did that last week, but it's a Christmas season, so I think restaurant is super busy with the business. So actually I need to follow up with them like maybe next year and kind of bringing them up saying like, oh, New Year's resolution, like why don't you implement this idea? So I need to be patient, but I need to keep follow up with them. But it seems like it's a positive reaction so far.
okay, I have that question because I think it's one thing. It's very valid that for a restaurant to be able to make it more visible in terms of the menu, like which is good for vegetarians but the other problem is the operation, actually changing the line of service to serve that one customer or how many customers. And I think the convincing part I thought might be hard. So that's why I had that question.
One more minute.
Thank you for your presentation. I just want to ask you, one question. Did you search about the volume of the market? Like how many people would be possible? B side or C side, whichever it is. Did you?
So here's the actual calculation. So where did it go? So one of the website, if you click it, you can see the source. The vegetarian people are approximately 22% of the world population, and that comes down to never mind. And the JTB Tourism Research Center said there's 32 million foreign visitors. So 32 million multiplied by 22, it comes around 7 million. But I subtract those 2.2 million Indians because they're huge population. So we kept some of them. So the market size would be 4.8 million.
Right. Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
I don't know if that's answered your question.
Well, yeah, I want to ask more details after the presentation. Thank you.